We've all seen Klein use divination countless times, but how much do you really know about it? How many types of divination exist? What's the actual mechanism behind it? Why can beyonders outside the seer pathway perform it? And, did you know, even ordinary people can use divination as well? In this video, we'll answer these questions and uncover the hidden mechanism behind divination. Divinations can be classified into 3 categories based on where the revelations come from. The first category uses one's own spirituality. Here, the diviner taps into their spirituality and connects with the spirit world to gain a revelation. This is also the most common form of divination. Methods such as dowsing rods, spirit pendulums, dream divinations, and tarot cards all fall under this category. Take dowsing rod divination as an example. It's most suitable for tracking an object or a person. The diviner uses a body part or an item that is extensively used by the target, ties it to something long like a rod or a cane, repeats the statement 7 times in their mind, and lets go of the cane, which will then fall exactly in the direction of their target, acting like a mystical compass. In contrast, the spirit pendulum is best for validation. The user holds a topaz pendulum, which has high spiritual affinity, in their non-dominant hand and repeats a statement 7 times. The pendulum then rotates to give an answer. Clockwise rotation signifies the truth of the statement, while anti-clockwise rotation means false, and the faster it rotates, the higher the validity. If it doesn't move at all, it means the divination has failed, either because the statement was flawed or the user lacks the necessary information. Both methods require strong spirituality and a clear connection with the spirit world, something which only beyonders of the seer, mystery prior, or secret suppliant pathway possess at sequence 9. Methods like dream divination, however, are much more powerful and has very high requirements. Only seers with deep ties to the spirit world can use it effectively. Pathways like hunters and warriors lack enough spirituality, while the sleepless lack the right connection to the spirit world. But, of course, some pathways, even if they can't perform divinations at sequence 9, gain the related abilities at different sequences, like sequence 7, witch. Cartomancy, like tarot reading, involves using a deck of cards to gain insight into one's fate. Here, the inquirer shuffles or selects a card while focusing on their question. Each card has a predetermined symbolism and meanings. The idea is that the inquirer's fate and spiritual state will always be reflected in the cards they chose. For example, as the first card of the deck, the Fool, represents new beginnings and infinite possibilities. When Klein drew it, it symbolized the start of his new life in an alternate world. Since the cards come with fixed meanings and aren't as flexible as the other methods, it has very low requirement on spirituality such that even non-beyonders can perform this type of divination, although the accuracy is not always guaranteed. In short, all these methods rely on one's spirituality to communicate with the spirit world, but what exactly does it mean to communicate with the spirit world, and why does that allow us to divine things? What is the mechanism behind this? To understand this, we first need to explore the spirit world itself. The spirit world is described as this alternate realm that overlaps completely with the real world. It's a place where direction doesn't exist, where past, present, and future intersect, and where countless fragments of information converge. Confusing, right? Let's look at this from a different perspective. Think of the spirit world as a giant carbon paper. Just like how carbon paper records whatever is written on the sheet above, the spirit world records everything that happens in the real world. Every event, every action, every process leaves behind an imprint in the spirit world. In that sense, it's like a vast databank, a spiritual archive containing records of everything that has ever happened, and even what has yet to happen. And every human being also has their own projection in this realm. When someone performs a divination, their projection acts like a search engine. It browses the fragments of information stored there and finds you the answer. The only prerequisite is that you have a strong connection to your projection and enough spirituality. But not every pathway meets these requirements at lower sequences. Seers, for example, are like top-tier search engines. They have a variety of means and produce the most accurate and clear results. Meanwhile, pathways like mystery prayers or secret suppliants have limited means. They can browse as well, but results are vague and less reliable in comparison. But this limitation fades as you advance. The higher your sequence, the easier it becomes to interact with the spirit world, and the more powerful your divinations. At really higher sequences, you no longer need external tools like spirit pendulums or canes. A single thought is enough to download vast amounts of information. Some angels and gods can even divine things hundreds of years into the future. But remember, divination has limits. It's not all-powerful. You can't divine just anything you want. Because you're using your own projection, divinations work best when it's related to you, things that affect you, concern you, and most importantly, things that endanger you. Trying to divine something completely unrelated will usually lead to vague answers, or nothing at all. That's why mediums, objects with strong connections to your target, are often required. Some beyonders can also counter divination using various means available in their pathway. They may sever their spiritual connections to a medium, or interfere and obscure their information, use powers that confuse the information flow, much like using a VPN. This doesn't necessarily erase their information, but it makes it hard to get a clear result. Only powerful beyonders of certain pathways can completely conceal their information from the spirit world. Communication with spirit world also has significant dangers because it doesn't come with any warnings or safety features that prevents you from divining dangerous information. If you were to browse any information related to a powerful entity, even accidentally, then you'll have to face the consequences. Communication with the spirit world is not only done actively. Because your projection constantly interacts with it, it can also warn you of any immediate danger. Whenever you are about to face danger, encounter an ambush, or make a decision that can result in harm, your spirituality will alert you. This is known as spiritual intuition, or spiritual warning. A clown's precognition also works in similar ways. Sometimes your projection can also give you certain hints and clues in your dreams. This is especially true for a seer. A seer's dream is always filled with hidden meanings and symbolisms. Some powerful beyonders can also actively find your projection in the spirit world and inject it with information so as to covertly send a message via your dream. And since everyone has a projection, even ordinary humans, sometimes, have rare moments of spiritual intuition. Most dismiss it as coincidence or instinct, but in truth, it's a glimpse from the spirit world. The second category of divination includes spirit numerology and astromancy. Instead of spirituality, it relies on the use of numerical analysis to understand one's fate and reveal key insights about your life, personality, and your future path. It is based on the ideology that everything in the universe, from the smallest atom to the largest star, follows a pattern. Everything has a cause and effect, every number has a meaning, and by deciphering it, one can predict the future. For example, the diviner uses personal details like birth date and the exact positions of stars, planets, sun, and moon at the moment of someone's birth before using calculations, inference, and interpretation to uncover hidden patterns that influence their fate. This cosmic fingerprint is then used to reveal personality traits, relationships, and possible life events. Since this method uses mathematics and interpretation instead of spirituality, anyone can attempt it, even non-beyonders. However, due to the extreme mathematical difficulty, almost no one can perform it accurately. The third category is the most dangerous. It involves contacting an external third party, be it an unknown spirit or hidden existence. Through rituals, the diviner asks them directly for answers. Even though there was a high chance that an average person would not succeed, there were cases where they managed to communicate with malicious spirits or entities that drove them to insanity. A classic example is the magic mirror divination. Here, the user contacts an unknown being through a mirror and poses a question. This kind of divination is extremely advantageous for the third party. There's almost no price to be paid to connect to the real world. But to the user, it's indeed dangerous. They will appear under the sight of an unknown existence without any protection. From there, they can be possessed, controlled, cursed, and corrupted. Another example is Ouija board, which also involves making contact with a ghost or a wandering spirit that can communicate with the spirit world to give answers. However, there is one safer alternative. Instead of unknown entities, One could attempt to contact the 7 orthodox deities. Ordinary people rarely receive clear revelations this way. But unlike with malicious beings, at least they won't suffer corruption or tragedy. And that concludes the 3 major categories of divination. Still, divinations doesn't solely rely on the spirit world. There are other, rarer methods, such as clairvoyance and prophecy, that pry into the river of fate itself. But that is a story for another day.